Week 63 of the Geek Week in review. We're going to talk She-Hulk, Game of Thrones, and a whole bunch of figures, so stay tuned.
The Geek Week in review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in review with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. Ryan Speaks Geek is not here this week. He's having another day off.
Another jolly.
He's just on another, like, the guy's got a big social life, so it's just, you know, we'll let him go. Obviously, if you're enjoying the show, check out Geek Week in Review, the Geek Week in Review.co.uk. There's links to all the socials and stuff on there. All follows and support is very much appreciated. So, as we said in the introduction, we're going to talk about She-Hulk episode 2. We've got the new Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. We've had a handful of figures kind of drop in here, there, and everywhere. And I suppose the biggest thing going on this week was the Power Rangers Power Con, is it they're calling it, or Power Super Week or something along those lines?
Yes, like that. I'll get the official name. 2 seconds. I love how professional we are.
I want to say Power Con. I think that's
like that used to be the name once upon a time, didn't it? I'm pretty sure that's it, but let me just double check for the sake of it. So this last week has been like a Power Rangers week over with all the announcements for Lightning, the Lightning collection and stuff like that. Yeah. They used to do like the PowerCon back in the day when Mattel used to run the line and stuff like that, and then Hasbro kind of had a go at it. They've renamed it Power Week. So celebrate Power Week with Hasbro with brand new announcements each and every single day.
Yeah. Let's have a little chat about Power Rangers before we get into our television. We're on the subject. The Lightning collection for me it's an odd one because I absolutely love the line. I absolutely love the line, and I started when it first came out. But for me, it was all about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I think we've had this discussion weeks ago, and I was just a bit put off that it was kind of drip fed in. I just kind of wanted to pick up my Power Rangers, and by the time I got them, I was a little bit like, do I extend it? I got Zed, and I think it was around the time that they announced Rita, and I was kind of like, oh, do I do it? And I ended up kind of moving it on. I kind of agree a little bit, but they are reissuing those Mighty Morphins, are they? So it's not like the White Ranger really exclusive. Like you can pick him up again, which is really cool. But it is a really awesome line, and I don't think I watched enough of the kind of spin-off shows, as I call them, or the extended shows, to appreciate the line fully. There's a lot of characters that come out I don't recognize.
A lot of the stuff that they're releasing now are coming straight out of the comic books, which is Boom Studios. They're coming straight out of the pages of the comics, which is awesome because it's a direction I never thought I'd see Hasbro go in. I thought they would stick to the Saban Entertainment, like literal Power Ranger line, and then that's all we'd see. But they are proper going to town with the crossover stuff and the more recent comics. Like you've got the whole Lord Drakon, which is like a big thing in the comics. Lord Drakon's the evil Tommy. And he's like a cross between his white and Green Ranger roles, and it's just like the Shattered Grid and stuff. The fact they went down that role and they gave us Kimberly's evil equivalent as well, the Power Ranger Slayer and stuff like that, and so cool.
Yeah, I think the one figure I've still got.
I kept my original Mighty Morphin. I've got both Lord Drakons, and I've got Ranger Slayer. And then recently, not long ago, they announced the 2-pack with Yellow Ranger and Scorpina. And there's a little bit of me that wants Scorpina because she was like my love interest as a child. He was the one that always, as a kid, that was like the fit Chinese lady in the corner that always looked pretty.
It was just like I didn't read the comic books. I couldn't even tell you when the comic books officially came out. I read them a few years back, and I did one of those kind of a issue 1 to 50 or whatever it was, like as a bulk kind of purchase. So for me, it was always the TV shows, but I got into comic books after the toy line came out. Funny enough, because it was the Drakon figure that got me into the comic books, because I saw it and I was like, this is an awesome looking figure. And obviously I know the Tommy character and I know white and green and all that kind of stuff, and the Shattered Grid and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I need to kind of go back and read this. So I got into the comic books because of the toy line, which I think is happening for a lot of people, that they're seeing these characters kind of wanting to read the source material. But it's definitely a cool angle. Definitely a cool angle for Hasbro to go down with these figures, and I think that's maybe why it's such a cool line. Like why it's so well. They haven't had a HasLab yet, have they?
No, they've not done a HasLab yet.
Do you think Hasbro PulseCon?
No, I'd hope so. They've not done one yet, so it'd be cool to see one. But they don't seem to need one. The line's pretty strong on its own. It's got a very strong following, and there are YouTube channels that are just you're literally just dedicated to just the Power Ranger line. And there's plenty. I mean, what would they do as a HasLab? Because they've already released all the swords. They've already released the weapons. They've already released the helmets. What would they do?
Well, I was thinking if they did a Megazord in the scale of kind of Galactus or Sentinel, it would be close. It wouldn't be to scale, but it would be close enough that you could display that with your power in front, and it would look quite epic. So I wonder whether that.
Well, I was never happy with the fact that they made Zord on that little stupid piece of plastic that was a Walmart exclusive.
Oh yeah,
and he didn't really light up, and you were a bit naff. Why not give us the proper original? What do you call it? The room.
I know what you're saying. I can't remember.
It's got a name on it.
Yeah,
it's gone.
It will come. It will come.
Yeah, the command center. If they built the command center, because it was only like a wraparound room like that with some railings and the dome that the Alpha looked through. In his little computer system, and then you could just have the giant dome with the head in it, and then you could have little things to stand all your Power Rangers on, so they can stand, in that traditional pose with the hands on hips, holding the helmet under their hand and stuff. That could make an awesome display piece.
Yeah, that really would be
scale
good.
Like wrap around that just sits on your shelf, and you can stand all 6 figures in it.
Yeah, I'm surprised with the booming collecting as well. Like in the last couple of years, because it's no kind of secret, COVID and lockdown brought out a lot of new collectors who were looking for something to do. But with the increase in collectors, I'm surprised that they haven't gone more down the route of play set stroke display things, because there's such a huge demand for those kind of diorama pieces. And you look back at the Toy Biz days where they did like the Legends, for example, with like a display piece kind of base that like Sentinel head or a blown out window or something, and people still buy those on the groups and on eBay because they look great with the figures even now. So I'm surprised Hasbro haven't gone down that route, especially with something like Power Rangers, because they could have put a piece of the command center, single one, and they built this similar to Diamond Select. Remember when they did the rooftop Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
It's doable. I mean, it's definitely doable because we've seen it done across other lines. So something like the command center that a lot of the real estate is just floor. You could kind of skip that out and let people use their own bases and build that back wall with Zordon and the little piece. That'd be really cool. But no, I am excited. I'm excited to see where the line goes. It's definitely one of my favorite kind of up and coming lines. And this week has been brilliant. The things that they've been pushing out are fantastic. Most recently, the daggers.
The daggers?
Yeah. Did you not see those?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the power daggers for the Yellow Ranger. Yeah, the physical ones. Yeah, they look cool. They've been going a bit. They've been doing the Wild Force and the Dino Thunder, I think it's called. The 2 lines they've been doing mainly this week. But one line I think that stuck out for me and you, as obviously MMPR fans, was the crossover with Street Fighter, which is awesome.
It's just they just look really well done, and I think, and it's no disrespect to some of the other crossovers they've done, but some of the other crossovers they've done, like most notably like the Turtles and things like that, they didn't quite work. They didn't. And I know it's based on comic books, but like the scale of the helmets and stuff like that.
Yeah, the scaling was a little bit off for me for some of it, and I wanted to like that line because I love both Turtles and Power Rangers. It was like a proper 90s mashup, but just not done to perfection.
No, and they had the turtle. Do you remember that episode of, I think it was Power Rangers Space and the Turtles and stuff like? And yeah, so when I saw it announced, I was the same. I was kind of, I really want to like this, but there's something that's still not making me jump in as a purchase. But these Street Fighter ones, the sculpting and the detail on like they're completely new figures by the looks of it, which is really ace. And there's enough of each franchise in the character.
Yeah,
it's
so
not just
you can kind of tell which characters are meant to be. They look like the respective characters from the from Street Fighter. You can tell who they're meant to be rather than just being full Power Ranger mode.
And they've got like their own names as well, haven't they? They're not just kind of this person as a turtle or this person as a turtle.
No, it's like you've got Chun-Li as the Blazing Phoenix Ranger,
and Ryu is Crimson Hawk, is it?
I'm sure he is.
No, it is Crimson Hawk.
Yeah, Crimson Hawk.
I thought it's a bit close to Cobra Kai there, like it just but then his name's Hawk and he's got a red mohawk. But yeah, I just love the fact that these are kind of independent characters with their own names, their own style. They're just awesome. They really are awesome. I'm really excited to see what else comes out of that line. I hope it's not just those two figures.
So yeah, the storyline for this. Are you ready? I'm going to do epic mode for you.
Go on now. Boom, boom, boom.
Despite Tommy's efforts, Reacher's power continues to grow, and she begins to enlist the help of villains from alternate realities. She discovers the remains of Street Fighter's M. Bison and resurrects him in her world. Unable to defeat a united front of Rita and M. Bison, the two villains' minions, and the Rangers, who are still infected, but with what? I don't know. Tommy and his team of freed Rangers enlist Ryu to take back the Morphin Grid.
Wow.
That's just epic.
You know what makes me most excited about these kind of crossovers is that, and let's think like Turtles and Power Rangers and Street Fighter and Power Rangers, is they're the kind of things that like we thought up as kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing a computer game, we go, oh yeah, can you imagine if so and so was in so and so, or and that's what I think is so nostalgically fresh about them. So like a Street Fighter Power Ranger crossover is incredible. I'm just trying to think what characters I'd like to see. Like E Honda wouldn't be a Power Ranger, but then he was a villain, wasn't he? So we wouldn't see Power Ranger. But I'm trying to think who else we would have. What was the army girl called? Sonya? No, Sonya was Mortal Kombat. That's it. Yeah. So she's probably going to be in it. Let's be honest.
Colonel Guile is the Green Ranger.
Guile. Is Guile the Green Ranger?
No.
That would
I'm just thinking this, but this is what I like about it. It could have been very easy for them to just say Chun-Li's the Blue Ranger because she wears blue, and like Ken is red, but they haven't. They've like made their own names and stuff like the Hawk Ranger. What the hell? That's awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. That is really cool. But yeah, we've got to see Ken. Oh, it's just going to be awesome. So we won't see characters like Blanca as Power Rangers because they're on the villain side. But in the comic books, I don't know if you know, but are the villains any different? So like, is M. Bison different than he is in the game, or essentially could this give Hasbro the opportunity to give us 6-inch Hasbro Street Fighter figures?
So the Rangers from the comic book are literally the Ryu Ranger, Chun-Li Ranger, and then there's the Green Ranger version 2, which is Tommy Oliver, and Megaforce Yellow, Super Megaforce Yellow Yellow Ranger, whichever that is, by Gia Morgan is the role. No idea who that is.
No.
She's from Megaforce Power Rangers. She was like a fan favorite from Megaforce. Then the other Rangers that did feature, because there are evil Rangers. So, Ninja's a supporting character in this, of course he is. Ninja's in this one. You know, remember the robot ninja? The power of the ninja.
Yes.
So, Jason Scott Lee's Red Ranger, Billy Cranston's Blue Ranger, Trini's in this one, the Yellow Ranger. Then they have the Phantom Ranger, Pink Galaxy Ranger, Time Force Pink Ranger. Then there's loads of the ones from like the TV stuff that we don't know about, like Dino and Ninja and all that. But none of the other crossover ones, which is a shame. So the two crossover ones mainly is just Ryu and Chun-Li. So there is only two really.
Oh right.
Oh, that's a letdown.
That's disappointing.
Still having them both.
Even just for the effects. I mean, like they've Hasbro have kind of, I know that all the brands are different within Hasbro, but they've kind of proved again that they can do these figures with more effect pieces, because these effect pieces are very specific to those Street Fighter characters. So showing that they can kind of produce those for, like, you know, figure specific sort of thing, it kind of opens up that kind of can of like, why are we not getting more effect pieces or diorama type pieces? But yeah, I'm definitely picking them up without a doubt. Without a doubt, they're definitely going to be on my shelf. Can't wait. I can't wait. Hasbro figure wise though, there wasn't any real news on stock there.
Sorry, I was reading the story with the Power Rangers thing there. Hang on, let's shift into gear, or shift into turbo, and let's have a look at some other stuff. Hasbro's been quiet, other than obviously it's been Power Ranger week, so nothing else has come out of Hasbro really, other than what's he called today from Marvel?
Oh, Gore
the God Butcher has come out, hasn't he?
Yes.
That's based on his comic book appearance, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was what everybody was expecting to get in the Thor: Love and Thunder, but obviously different version. But this is how he looks in the comic books, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty comic book accurate. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of people are raving about it. It comes with 2 head sculpts, comes with the Necro sword, which if you look at the product shots, it shows kind of the symbiote coming out of the sword and onto his arm, which is a really nice touch. And I think the sword, from what I can tell in the promo images, is actually like an alternate hand. So the hand and the sword in one.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, you know, the Necro sword is essentially a living symbiote. So, you know, living version of what Venom is. And they didn't explore that in the film because they did it differently and or whatnot. So there was a lot of complaints about the figure that we did get and what people wanted as a comic book accurate figure. And it feels like they've really addressed the fan service and just given everybody exactly what they want. So you look at some of the product shots that they produced of the figure, they are literally off the page. Like you could Google Gore the God Butcher, and you'll see the same poses like drawn for a lot of the pictures they used, which is really cool. And I think that kind of speaks volumes for the figure itself, the fact that you can mimic those panels so closely with such ease. So yeah, it's a good figure, and that's an Amazon exclusive, I believe. And I think it said that it goes up on pre-order tomorrow on Tuesday, and then it will be open to the general public through other retailers in October.
That's not going to go down well that it's exclusive though.
Well, yes and no. I'm going to have to look up the exact wording of this while I'm actually on the call, because it struck me as strange how it was worded.
Is it a tiny exclusive again?
Yeah, and that to me is. Don't get me wrong. I like Amazon. I've got no problem against Amazon, and we're quite lucky here that we don't have a huge problem with Amazon exclusives. Like when we kind of get them. So yes, it says Marvel Legends Gore the God Butcher figure will be available for pre-order exclusively at Amazon on August the 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern specific time, before going on sale through all participating retailers in October. So pre-order it exclusively at Amazon on August 30th, but then it gets sale in October. So there's no mention of getting it early. If you get it through Amazon, you just secure a pre-order. So that, you know, I'm not too worried trying to get it as an Amazon exclusive if it's going to be readily available, because as we've said many times over here in the UK, we're quite fortunate that our retailers are able to obtain a lot of the exclusives and in abundance as well. So
you know that well, one of them will get an import stock from somewhere somehow.
Oh yeah,
and you'll always get them on one of the fan sites anyway.
Of course they will. But it is an awesome looking figure. It's definitely one for any kind of Asgardian setup or any Thor collector, or anyone that just likes a good villain. Like Gore is a good villain, and it's, you know, it kind of comes full circle, doesn't it, with the, you know, all the stuff that we're getting at the moment. We've had quite a Thor kick with Love and Thunder coming out, so it is nice to see a comic book accurate of a figure that we've seen produced off the likeness of the film so quickly. That's a real nice touch. But they do seem to be doing that, because like they gave us classic Loki, and then we've got the Richard E. Grant classic Loki already announced. They do seem to be kind of giving us both versions quite quickly, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like you leveled up. That's your phone. best message tone ever. But there was nothing really Star Wars. There was nothing really G.I. Joe. There was nothing outside of Power Rangers and that one kind of leak from not leak, but one reveal from Legends. We were wrong though about the Ghost Rider, because that went up for pre, didn't it? So I'm still kind of holding on to what we said. I do think this is part of something bigger. I don't think it's just a one-off, but it has gone up for pre-order and people have ordered it and stuff. So that will be readily available. Did you grab one?
No, I don't do pre-orders, but I will grab one as soon as it becomes available.
I know you stopped your pre-ordering, didn't you?
I'm not a pre-order guy anymore.
You're living true to that.
I'm living true that it didn't need to be done. I've not missed a single figure yet. I've not had to pay any import stock. Only at my own choice. I've not had to do it. But yeah, I've been doing fine.
Happy days.
Other than that, this week we've had a couple of things from DC. So the DC Multiverse line has been dropping a few things. The gold label 7-inch Robin, which is Tim Drake's version. So it's the red and yellow with the black cape Robin. He's going to be coming to the gold label, as they call it. And he'll be an Amazon exclusive. So that's coming this June for pre-order. And it does look pretty good. It's a decent, accurate version of that like red Robin look. So it's definitely you can definitely tell it's the Tim Drake Robin. It looks good. It's not just like I was wondering whether it was going to be a repaint of the last one we got, but it's not. It's a definite new, nice sculpt and stuff. It looks good. Super 7 teased that they're going to be doing Bruce Lee Wave 2, and it was the yellow sort of image with the scratch marks through it, which indicates which film was that? Enter the Dragon. Yeah. So that should be a good line. So we should get the Bruce Lee with the ripped chest open.
That's awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to them. Because Super 7, they make some amazing products.
Oh yeah.
DC Page Punchers Wave 2. Do you see those this week?
What was in the wave?
So we had the first wave, didn't we? That was Black Adam, Constantine, Superman, and Batman. And I got the Constantine and Batman from it. Really good figures. Constantine's best Constantine figure I've ever had. So Wave 2 is coming out based on another comic. So you're going to get another bunch of figures based on a comic book. It's based on the Injustice comic this time. And the figures that they're giving us will be Green Arrow, Batman in his Injustice costume. So it's like the more armored look of Batman, which is quite cool. Mr. Freeze and Flash.
Oh, nice.
Mr. Freeze will be a nice one to pick up.
Yeah.
You don't get many Mr. Freezes. And again, Green Arrow is a character you don't normally see a lot of other than outside of the TV stuff. You don't see a comic accurate version, really. So that's quite a good line for them ones.
He's basically a Robin Hood, isn't he? Like the comic book version of him is Robin Hood. Let's be perfectly honest with you. But over time, he's adapted. He's another really cool character. I liked what they did on the TV show, but it was a different version of kind of Green Arrow that we knew from the comic books. But I like what they did. So that's cool that they're doing the comic book accurate stuff. But there just seems to be such a massive call for this at the moment, which as a fan and a collector does make me really happy, because let's be honest, there's so much media out there and so many kind of movie shows. It'd be very easy for the merchandise to kind of slip into that, because that's where the bigger market might be, more predominant market at any given time when something comes out. But they do seem to be holding true to the origins, which is really nice, especially across things like Marvel Legends and McFarlane and stuff.
Yeah, McFarlane's doing
cool.
really well at the moment.
Cool.
They're just announcing stuff left, right, and centre. So I mean, they've really got the teeth into the line now. I think they've kind of found the feet a little bit with these page punchers. People seem to like these. I like them. It feels very nostalgic getting a comic book with a figure. It is very old school, but I like it. And it was only the same price as a regular McFarlane, to be fair. They didn't charge any extra for a special edition, if you will.
Oh, right. Oh, then.
It was only $22.99 for the figure, and it was nice.
What size are they?
7-inch scales.
Oh, they are 7.
7
Which
inch
ones are
scale,
the
yeah.
4?
I don't know.
There's-
Oh, you were about the tiny ones?
Yeah, they're not McFarlane now, are they? They're
Yes, they're still McFarlane, but he made a bunch of
Oh.
small ones that didn't really sell very well. And then he started pumping out these 7 inch versions based on these current line of figures, and they've been selling like hotcakes.
Yes.
I think he
That's
tried the
right,
new scale and tried to go down the sort of nostalgic 5POA route. Obviously the fans of his his collection stuff aren't into that. But if you make them to go with the regular 7 inch lines, so they scale with your current DC products, better, isn't it?
It's insane how many there are, because even the other day I went into the high street, and there's very few places on the high street that sell kind of collectibles, but HMV is one that, like, they've moved all their music to the back of the store. I don't know if it's the same for you, where the music is at the back of the store, and you have to walk through all the t-shirts and merchandise and figures and comic books and posters to get to the music. But they have a huge kind of action figure wall, and the McFarlane takes up a good portion of that now. Like, it's almost in competition with Funko. Like, Funko have a huge presence in any physical kind of brick and mortar store, but McFarlane is definitely kind of spreading. And I'm surprised. I didn't think it was a line that was going to really go strength from strength the way that it has. But yeah, they are, and they're keeping their prices consistent, which is pretty cool. When everything else has kind of gone up a little bit, they've stayed around the same mark.
Yeah, he's not daft. In Todd McFarlane, he's not a daft man. He's worked it out. Obviously, they charge more for their bigger figures, but they've been selling well as well. Like Man Bat, I can't get hold of a Man Bat for love of money. I'm trying my damnedest. Every time he comes in stock, he's instantly back out. Killer Croc's been sold out for weeks now. So I'm waiting for them to drop at retail because I know HMV will get them. So I'm waiting to grab one from there. But Man Bat looks awesome. And they've just announced as well the Batman animated series gold label, which is going to be, the scene from the very beginning where Batman stood on the rooftop and the lightning hits and it lights him up.
In the red background. And
so basically they're doing that as a scene, as a play scene. So basically you've got that as a set, and you push the button and it lights up Batman just like it does on the TV series, like the crack of lightning lights up.
That's amazing. That is really cool. But going back to saying earlier, like, doing those little things would sell figures. Like, people will buy that just because of the TV show. Like, even not collectors will just pick it up because they love the TV show, and it's a physical part of that TV show. So,
and these are all coming out under that DC Direct line. It's still McFarlane, it's still the Multiverse, but they're calling it DC Direct, which was the original, obviously, name of the original DC company, wasn't it? The DC released all their figures under the DC Direct name. So they're trying to revive that name now with McFarlane, by the sounds of it, which is a good thing, because they've got a massive back catalogue of product at DC Direct. So
yeah, that is cool. So before we go on to kind of TV shows and that, kind of bringing it back to Hasbro, we did mention earlier that there's Hasbro PulseCon. Is there any, we're getting dangerously close to that. It's about a month away now. Any massive predictions at the moment?
I think Dungeons and Dragons is going to have a massive announcement. I really do. There's no way they've rejuvenated that just for one movie. I think something else is coming by Hasbro. I've got a feeling, I'm hoping it's to do with Stranger Things. I'm hoping I'm right, and I'm hoping that Hasbro and Stranger Things have managed to make some form of partnership. That would just be epic. But other than that, I'm hoping to see some classic D&D, not just like crossover anyway, because there's a massive lore of D&D, and there's so much potential for action figures in it. So I'm hoping they could find something to do with that. But other than that, I think we might see a massive announcement from one of the smaller lines this year. So I think Marvel's going to do their Ghost Rider-y thing, and Star Wars is going to try and do something. But definitely, I think one of the smaller lines, so either G.I. Joe or Power Rangers, might announce something huge.
The two that I'm keeping my eye on is the new starting line that they're releasing. Only because I used to love basketball. My boys basketball mad, and knowing that they're doing the starting lineup and it's all NBA related and stuff, I'm just really curious as to what figures they're going to have, and I'm guessing it's going to be kind of Michael Jordan,
LeBron James.
Yeah, I think they'll
It's going to
definitely
be some big players, isn't it?
do a Kobe, maybe a Shaq. Like it'll be all those kind of characters.
That sounds like Wave One's done.
Oh, but I think it will really sell because, interestingly enough, like with basketball is very popular. It's a very popular kind of the playgrounds and stuff. But the children that are really into it are all of the age that their parents were really into the originals, kind of like the Jordans and the Kobe's and stuff. So to do something like that, like if that was announced and they were players that I liked, I'd buy the Wave for my son. Like just as I really want these, but I'm going to get them for him. So I'm really excited. And they've hyped it up. They've done lots of little teasers. They've shown us like just snippets of renders and stuff, but not giving anything away. Like not even coloured the renderings. They're just in that grey kind of primer kind of state. So I think there's going to be something relatively big for that. Or they did tease a stand. I don't know if you saw this, but it had the backboard and the hoop and everything with a clear stand. So I think it's going to be something quite big there. And another line that I think not a lot of people have forgotten about, but not many people have talked about is the Fortnite line. I think that something coming from Fortnite just because they're releasing more and more products. So maybe not HasLab, but something bigger, I think. So
the actual lineup is actually announced on the website if you want to go through it.
Well, the starting lineup.
No. The the PulseCon schedule. Sorry, the PulseCon schedule lineup for the 2 days.
Yeah.
So day one, we're starting out with Power Rangers. Power Rangers Dino Fury panel. So they're going to talk about the TV stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Power Rangers product panel straight after it. After the product panel, it's going to be Boom Studios. So they're going to talk about the comics. Then at 12:15, we're going to be talking Ghostbusters. So they're there. It doesn't say product panel, though, because all of them say product panel, I've noticed. They're using different terms. So it's a Power Rangers product panel, but it's a Ghostbusters panel.
But with
I'm thinking that's going to be...
I wonder whether there's enough like movement in the line to warrant products at the moment, because they pushed hard on all the original stuff and then the Afterlife stuff, but we haven't really had any kind of nostalgic stuff yet. So I wonder whether they were testing the waters a little bit. I don't know.
I'm surprised we've not seen a Wave 2 for the second movie yet. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, given us the big portrait and the big villain, what's he called? I can't remember his name.
Right? No. I can't remember. I'm terrible tonight.
Vigo.
But yeah.
Vigo?
Yeah, it's something along them lines, but the purple slime god, pink slime.
Yeah, the purple slime god. And then he obviously had his weird little henchman. Obviously, that guy from. I can't remember his name as well, but he's another little weird guy there from films.
Yeah.
Master. So yeah, there's all that kind of stuff still to come, really, that they've not used.
I think they've missed the trick, though. I think that they should have really pushed hard on like the what they called the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon. Like, so many like there's obviously the classic look and stuff, but just to different jumpsuits, the different vehicles and stuff. So if you think back to the toy line that came with that TV show, they had helicopters and bikes and toilet monsters.
I often wonder though, the thing is, do Diamond Select own the licensing for the real Ghostbusters? Because Diamond Select did all the releases for real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they did.
And it wasn't that long ago. The Diamond Select original Ghostbusters line was at the same time as like Mattel's releases, so they were like a joint collaboration. Whereas the real Ghostbusters wasn't that long ago when Diamond Select released them. So I wonder if they're still withholding the rights to that line, and then Hasbro will get them later.
I never even crossed my mind that the two would have been separate. I just kind of saw it as Ghostbusters because, Diamond Select did all the movie stuff back in back then. They had that diorama that we were talking about, the rooftop. But then Hasbro obviously got the license for it and then kind of redid those figures in a 6-inch line. So I just naturally assumed that Diamond Select had Hasbro got it. But yeah, maybe they're two separate licenses in that respect. And if that is the case, then that makes a lot of sense. There is the game coming out though. There's the Answer the Call game, which does
I think
look
that's what will
really
probably be announced at Hascon. I think that'll be like the main talking point will be the game.
yeah, but it would be hard to do product to support that because it's one of those like you make your own character and stuff, don't you? So
Yeah.
it would be difficult to do product that supports it, but there's that potential. There is that. What's next after Ghostbusters?
So then we got Transformers. We got their entertainment panel and franchise panel and then product panel all together. Then Hasbro panel on Star Wars offerings, whatever the hell that means. What does that read there? Join members of the Hasbro marketing and design team as they discuss popular Hasbro Star Wars line, including Black Series being all right. Okay, so it's Star. It's just the way they've written it. It's Star Wars' announcements.
Okay.
Just the way they wrote it. Hasbro panel on Star Wars offerings. What a weird way to write it. Then it's the HasLab panel Star Wars as well. So the Star Wars are getting a HasLab.
But they haven't
Patrick's on the line
specified
for that one.
There's no Black Series or Vintage. They haven't specified which.
No. In 2018, we launched the HasLab with a dream of making biggest vintage collection vehicles that Hasbro has ever made. Jabba's sail barge, and so they're talking about the sail barge, and then they're talking about the Razor Crest. So I wonder whether they're going to do another vintage ship. If they're talking Razor Crest and talking Jabba sail barge, then we're talking vintage.
Yeah. I think they need to go back to the drawing board for Black Series and for the lightsabers and props and replicas and that. They need to kind of take a step back. The vintage is where it's at for them. So that's October 22nd, and then you just get the Hasbro Pulse Premium Early Access start. So if you're a premium member of Hasbro, you get to order things an hour early. Woo! Yeah.
Day 2, we start the day with G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, American Hero. Then it's Avalon Hill. That's the gaming company. Yep. Then it's Fortnite. So Fortnite, I've got a good 2 hours panel there. So that's 2 hours worth of Fortnite. Whatever they've got to announce is quite big. Then we've got Nerf.
Oh yeah, they do Nerf as well, don't they? Forget about that.
Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, and then we have a musical guest. We have Weezer.
Didn't they do last year?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
There's no musical guest on the Saturday, just on the Friday, just the Saturday. Randomly. Wow. So randomly Weezer are just thrown in before Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends is the penultimate. They get 2 hours. So Marvel Legends has got the final 2 hours on that day before the premium access starts to pre-order.
Does it specify with Legends what?
It just says that in the panelists will be Jesse Falcon, Marvel's Dwight, Design Ryan, Marketing Dan. And that's it.
All right.
Who's missing from that? Dan, Ryan, Dwight. Is that all? That's all 3 of them. That's all of a minute. And then Jesse, whoever Jesse is.
Jesse Falcon, he's like back. He's been around Marvel for years. He's like back in the Toy Biz days, was starting it off, and yeah, he's a big kind of name, but not at the forefront as much anymore. He joins in with a lot of their panels actually, more recently as well. But it's interesting because HasLab isn't mentioned there, so we are going to get the HasLab before PulseCon.
Yeah, the only HasLab announcement there is Star Wars.
Maybe they're just prepping. Just Star Wars fans, we are doing a HasLab. Please be ready. Be excited. But interestingly, there's a lot of talk, wasn't there? And we've even discussed, are they going to announce the HasLab at PulseCon? Is it going to be beforehand? But the fact that that's not mentioned says to me that we are going to get that announcement before PulseCon. So that's a 2 hour window of what's going on.
Other than that, we have special guests. We have Ben Burnley. He's going to be part of it. Mm-hmm. David Nakayama.
Oh, nice.
Julian Eric Leewald.
Okay.
Had them on the show before, haven't we? Matthew Lillard.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, because he is. And Patton Oswalt. Same sort of guest the other year, really, and it's same sort of people, really.
It is. So that says to me, I mean, David could be anything. He does a lot of the product images. So like the packaging images, so he could slot in anywhere.
He's got Marvel across his head. He's definitely Marvel. He's doing Marvel. It says on his picture. It says on the picture who they're all doing. So he's Marvel. He
does Marvel packaging. Sorry, that's what I meant. Is that a lot of the artwork on the side is him at the moment, and the Leewolds are obviously X-Men. So I do wonder whether anything extra coming from the VHS line, any announcements on some new figures there, because it was last year's PulseCon that the Leewolds had the Wolverine, the cell-shaded Wolverine, and they sort of showed him in hand for the first time on that PulseCon. So I wonder if they're going to do a similar thing. It actually sounds like the same setup as well last year, because
it does.
I was on Saturday, you were on the Friday, wasn't you? And then that was Star Wars and Marvel, and I'm pretty sure I had the same panels on mine, like the Nerf one, and that's I think they've just pretty much pasted. It's just literally a copy, Control C. It's interesting. It is interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I actually don't know what to expect. I wonder whether they'll be doing something like a fan wall again. Is that something that's going to be put out there? If it is, I haven't heard anything. I know I was invited last year, but yeah.
We're only on 29th of August, aren't we? So we've got a bit of time yet.
But it could be as well. Like I don't think I wouldn't be bothered if I wasn't involved this year, as long as everybody involved was new, if that makes sense. Like I had my go. I'd be a bit disappointed if everybody invited was the same kind of people as last year, but then I didn't get the invitation. But if it's just a whole bunch of new people, which there's the potential there to have a whole bunch of new people, then that's cool. That is cool.
As long as I get the box, I don't care. that's the thing I care about.
The box was amazing.
I'm not gonna lie. As long as I'm involved in the product box, I love them boxes. They're amazing, and they fill my channel with content for a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, the product boxes from Hasbro are insane. I'm not gonna lie. They are really good. But yeah, so let's. I'm sure more stuff will drop as we get closer to it. So let's talk TV for a bit. Let's talk what we've had on. So She-Hulk episode 2 came out.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I didn't not enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not getting the vibe that people are getting online. A lot of people are saying they don't like it. It's rubbish and it's pushing agendas, and I don't think it is at all. What were they expecting from She-Hulk? She's a strong female character. That's how she's going to be portrayed, because that's what she is.
I think the thing that annoys me the most about a lot of the kind of online agendas that people have is that it doesn't come from people that strike me as people that know about the source material.
Yes.
That, okay, if all you've ever watched is the MCU films, then yeah, of course you're going, well, why are they making a girl the Hulk? Why is the girl Hulk this? Why do we need a girl Hulk? Why do we need a girl Iron Man? Why do we need a female Black Panther and that kind of stuff? But when you actually read the comic books, there's so much source material there that these shows are built upon. And granted, She-Hulk hasn't got the back catalogue that the Incredible Hulk has, but she's still got a decent, credible back catalogue of things. And the show seems to be really true to the character. I'm finding. Yeah. I'm really enjoying it because it makes sense.
Yeah, we got a lot more of the fourth wall breaks in this one, which I liked. Where she's talking to the screen a lot more, giving us a bit of context of the scenes and stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
And I liked how they're kind of weaving her into the timeline now. So you can kind of see whereabouts we are now. Because obviously she goes to see I can never remember his name. Abomination. She goes to see Abomination and he's all powered down and wherever. But by the end of the episode, he's broken out because he's fighting in some street fight with Wong.
Well, there's a lot of controversy about where that takes place, because think about this, right? I think that clip, I'm in the camp that there's a lot of people that are saying that clip that they showed on the news at the end hasn't just taken place, it's just surfaced. So Shang-Chi happened way before She-Hulk, but Abomination had broke out, and then this clip has now surfaced online, and that's why it's in the news. Because we've just seen, in the first episode, Bruce Banner was in human form using the little didgeridoo he had on his hand. But then that got broken in the car accident, didn't it? And then he became Smart Hulk again. But in the end credits of Shang-Chi, Hulk's on that kind of communicator as Bruce Banner. So people are saying that Shang-Chi needed to have happened before She-Hulk started, because human Banner, human Bruce Banner, Smart Hulk. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the theory is that taken place after Shang-Chi, and that clip that we see from Shang-Chi is just a leaked clip that's now circulating the internet.
But they made out that Abomination had escaped.
Yeah.
Surely someone would have checked his cell and gone, no, he's sat there. Don't worry, he informed the news he's captured.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that they'll explain.
Yeah.
But it did get me thinking, and when I was reading it, I was like, oh, my brain hurts now. I took it for what it was when I was watching it. But people are always looking for how it ties in, aren't they? My favourite kind of tie-in, I think, out of the whole episode was when Bruce told her that he was a completely different person, and she looks at the screen and acknowledges the fact that it's a different actor, like without. Brilliant! I just thought that was a really, really clever little dig at the fact that it has changed. But yeah, it was a fun episode.
And we got to see Hulk on the ship, didn't we? As well, he's obviously in space, flying around somewhere.
Yeah, so that's setting up for something else, which excites me because it means that we haven't seen the end of Hulk, and I think we'll probably see a more like the Hulk from before, not completely aggressive, but not this version. I think he's going to have to.
I'm wondering whether he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. So obviously he's on a ship going to. And he going to the. Okay. He's going somewhere, and he says where he's going.
The car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that where the Grandmaster is and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Was yeah.
Yeah. I've got a feeling he's going to something to do with that. He's going to tie into Guardians, and he might appear in the Guardians, and then he might go mad during the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like something might happen to him in space that sends him back to being Big Hulk. And the shoving, and then that could very easily set up World War Hulk because he's already in space. They just shove him on some desolate planet that he can't destroy. Yeah, and then it becomes World War Hulk. I think that could be a big setup. Yeah, or even as a post credit for Guardians 3 that they kind of wrap their story, and then whatever character's kind of left over to carry the torch has some kind of time with Hulk afterwards. I just don't feel that James Gunn would kind of substitute his trilogy to set up Hulk. That makes sense. I think that I think it would need to be really sharp for that to work for him. Yeah, I imagine it to be something like what was Guardians in Love and Thunder kind of thing, like a bleating few minutes of seeing Hulk with the Guardians in space. Something happens, send him to a planet. Well, we got rid of that problem. Yeah, and then just fly off into space as the Guardians do. Yeah. But no, I liked it. As an episode, I really liked it. I'm surprised though, because I don't remember how many episodes we get exactly, but it's usually between 6 and 8, isn't it? Yeah. But we haven't seen Daredevil yet. There's not a hint or a sniff at. Yeah, used that clip as quite a big marketing ploy in the kind of teaser trailers. So I wonder whether when he's coming in. One of the cast, I think it was actually the She-Hulk, that she said that one of the best team ups is coming in the next episode. So I do wonder what that means. It could mean anything. It could be another really good lawyer. Let's be honest. That's not a big giveaway, but yeah, I'm just enjoying it, and I think it's going from strength to strength. I think episode 2 was a little bit better than episode 1, just because of the character development. So I hope it kind of stays on this trajectory and builds to be a really good TV show. It's going to have 9 episodes, and it'll finish on October 13th. Oh, whoa! Wow. Yeah. See, I was guessing sort of 6 to 8, but 9. That's insane. Not quite as many as Daredevil's going to have, but
9 is still a big old chunk of episodes. But yeah, I like it. I don't really have a lot to say about it.
I'm looking forward to seeing Wong and stuff and the whole Book of Ashanti, and I'm looking forward to seeing all that kind of crossover where she's like, because she's not from that world, is she? She's not used to superhero talk. So I'm looking forward to the bits like with Wong where he's like, we need to save the world. You know, we need to save the Book of Ashanti. She's like, the Book of what?
I wonder whether all those clips we saw in the trailer are actually going to be very quick, kind of a flash in the pan parts of the show.
Well, they made a joke
thing or not.
Yeah, well, they made a joke, didn't they, at the very beginning, saying this is not going to be a show full of cheap cameos. And so far, it's been a show full of cheap cameos. So I think there's going to be a little cameo from someone in every episode, probably, somewhere, somehow.
I think it needs to. I think for television, Marvel Studios in general, it's not cameos in the respect of dropping person here and here. It's a big integrated universe, and there's so much property out there now that it's almost more unrealistic for them to not cross over.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see both, you know, Charlie Cox as Daredevil and as Matt Murdock in the courtroom across from her. That's what I'm hoping to see. I would love some episodes where they're battling in the courtroom as well as like in superhero form.
It's too perfect for them not to, surely. Like
very true to comic book in it.
But for them to have these two lawyer figures underneath the kind of Disney umbrella and a law show going on at the moment, for them to not have that, it'd just be a massively missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. It's a good fun show, and you know, we live in an age where we've got weekly Marvel television at studio kind of movie quality. So, hey ho. And one of the big things that people kicked off about was the CGI on Jennifer Waters as well, and I don't think it's that bad.
What were people expecting?
Yeah,
we're going to paint someone green. We're going to buy Ronda Rousey and paint her green.
But even though, I mean, like, look back to kind of the Lou Ferrigno sort of days. He doesn't look like the Hulk. Like if they did that now, like it just wouldn't work, would it? Wouldn't work at all.
But I don't get because I've seen a lot of people online saying about the CGI quality, and it's like it's a 9-part TV episode, and they've got a budget, and they've got to spread that budget over 9 episodes. And they need CGI in every episode, not just for her, but for the special effects and the other characters. So yeah, it's not going to be the ultimate best thing you've ever seen in life, but it's still reasonably good and it's watchable. It's very watchable.
Yeah.
When she transforms, it doesn't take away from anything from me. Let's put it that way. It doesn't make me go, "Oh God, we're now back to the cartoon world." It doesn't change. No. It still looks good. Sorry, what were you saying?
Her hair looks amazing. Either way, whichever way goes, her hair looks amazing. I also like the human element of it as well, like going to her parents and losing her job. Like I never even thought about that element of it, that she would lose her job and not get employed because of the credibility of the law firm being in jeopardy. And I thought that was a really good addition to the episode, and I think it will help shape the character moving forward, because she kind of knows now that a lot of those doors are going to be closed for her because of the fact that she's a Hulk. But I loved the bit with family. I loved visiting home and going and seeing her mum and dad and brother and that, and how none of them treated her any differently until the post-credit scene and you saw her doing all the jobs. But it just kind of it showed her at like a very low point, I think, which is the development of the show moving forward, because we saw her quite vulnerable and we saw her quite, like out of options and quite miserable. So I do wonder where that's going to go in regards to the development of the show. We're going to see her family again. Are they done now? Like, who knows? But that was it for kind of Marvel television and sort of Disney. But there was obviously the new show started up, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones prequel.
I enjoyed
did you stay up and watch it, or did you wait until the next day?
Oh no, I waited until the next day. I watched it on demand.
Yeah, I'm not quite at the stage where I have to stay up till 2:00 in the morning to watch it.
No,
just yet. I did with Game of Thrones a couple of times because of the there wasn't a huge amount spoiled where I was looking, so it was to kind of see what was going on. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I expected, to be fair. I've never read the books, so I only know what I've seen on the screen. And I don't know if this is a book or if this is a new book or part of the original kind of storytelling. So
it was based on one of the books, because it did flash up based on House of something.
Okay.
It was based on a section of one of the books anyway.
Right. But yeah, I kind of went in with no expectations and came away relatively pleased. It's Game of Thrones, isn't it? You know what to expect: bit of nudity, a big dragon, and lots of fighting. And they gave us all of that. Right? I'm not sure how I feel. Yeah.
There was a thing. Sorry, I remember seeing an article. I think it was Den of Geek that said, "Was there a lack of violence in episode 1?" I'm like, are you kidding me? What more did you want?
That jousting and fight scenes and that,
that were brutal.
Yeah, it was like quite graphic as well. Like seeing people's heads getting.
Yeah, caved the guy's head in with the great big mace.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how about Matt Smith. Like when he first came out and he was in that scene thrown and that, I was like, why has Doctor Who got blonde hair? Like it's kind of like it's not. And he started talking, and I was like, oh, it's just Matt Smith playing Game of Thrones. Like it doesn't work. But by the end of the episode, I'd kind of forgot that it was Matt Smith, and I think that that's the best credit for his kind of delivery that I can give, is that I totally forgot who he was. I was just watching the characters, and the names are really peculiar. So I'm not even going to try those because I'm normal names. But I'm loving his character. Really evil.
Yeah. They seem to be setting him up as like he could either go two ways at the minute. He could either be the new Jon Snow, or he could be the sort of Jamie Lannister of the program. It could be either two.
Yeah.
Is he going to betray his brother, or is he going to be loyal? I think he's going to betray his brother, personally.
I wonder whether there's any kind of setup of the. Now, I'm not 100% down with my lore of Game of Thrones, so if I'm massively wrong, anyone that's watching, then please do forgive me. But the first thing I thought when he was kind of, being knocked back and all that kind of stuff, like all the things that he wanted, he was getting knocked back. He wasn't given the hand position, was he? And we see him at the end get on the dragon and fly off. And I wonder whether at some point he becomes something along the lines of the Night, what's he called? The Night King.
The Night King.
The Night King. I wonder whether there's anything there that there's something we're going to see here that sets up something that's so significant in the original, but in the Game of Thrones TV shows, because that'd be quite cool. That would be quite cool. But I think
this is set roughly 200 years before Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So we're talking the grandparents of the characters from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Is if one of these characters became the Night King, there's all super elements that play a part there, but it would be believable because the amount of time that's passed, they wouldn't look the same as they look in this show. So you couldn't have people turn around and going, oh, well, now you've shown us this, we should have had that actor doing X, Y, and Z. But there's enough time that, so if one of them became the Night King in this show, they would look how they look in the new show, the old show. It's confusing. And talk about a new show that takes place ahead of the one that you've seen is quite confusing. But it's cool. Like I got to see dragons. Dragons is cool. That birth scene though, where she was having the baby, was heartbreaking. Like, I was watching that like with difficulty because I was like, I know what's going to happen. I knew he was going to ask for cesarean. They were going to die, and you kind of felt that loss and felt that sorrow.
Yeah, because it was one of them. It's one of things where you forget like a cesarean section in that time sort of era or setting. She ain't gonna live through it. That's gonna kill her off.
No, that is
the moment that start. As soon as they start cutting, she's dead.
Yeah,
like Jesus.
And it was just brutal. Like the way that she's just laying there and not really fighting back a huge amount, and he's there holding her hand, and it's just horrible. And then the son doesn't survive anyway, so he is just left with a daughter. But I thought that was a real big power move to make this girl that we got in the forefront of the episode, she becomes the heir because of these devastating circumstances. But like I said, I've not read anything about it, so I don't know which direction it's going in. I'm just enjoying it for what it is while I'm enjoying it. If that makes sense.
So the weird thing about House Targaryen, I think Matt Smith's going to end up being forced to marry the heir to the throne, the girl, even though that's his niece, because that's how they roll. They like to keep their bloodlines pure, and incest wasn't a big thing to them, to the Targaryens, from what I've read. So I think that's going to be like one of the main turning points for this series, is the fact that he's going to be forced to marry his own niece, and I think he might say no, and that might start the conflict between the two brothers.
Yeah,
that's where I could see it going.
That would definitely work. So I've got the second episode to watch, and I've been looking forward to it. And
I'm watching it tomorrow.
That speaks volumes to me about the type of show that it is. Anything? What we got? We got Disney Plus Day coming up as well, haven't we?
Yes, Disney Plus Day is later on, a little bit later on yet. It's in November, I believe. I think.
But no, it's taking place in September.
Is it?
Yeah, because we've got Pinocchio launching, we've got Love and Thunder launching.
Oh yeah, September 8th. Disney Plus Day 2022. Damn.
Get your Mickey Mouse wallet out, because there is going to be stuff dropping. To be perfectly honest with you. But I only know that because I saw the trailer for Pinocchio, the second trailer for that. Did you watch that?
That's good.
It looks amazing. It really does look amazing. And I'm sure it said at the end of that, like, premiere on Disney on September 8th.
So yes, it's tying in with that. We're going to obviously have the D23 Expo as well to talk about very soon on September 9th. So that's it's September 9th, 10th, and 11th. So they're clearly having a week of stuff then. So that's next. It's not this week. It's next week. So God, that's only a week away.
Yeah. So September 9th won't be next show, but the show after.
So we'll have a whole. If it's starting on September 8th with Disney Plus Day, so they've got 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, all of Disney related stuff coming out.
Wow.
Big announcements for everything from the looks of this website. Jeez, Sage Christ. They've got a lot coming out.
Oh, really? Wow.
Expo news. Yeah, lots coming out. The Disney product lines reveals for the entire company, including Disney, Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, television, and so much more from the parks. We'll have the official Disney Legends 35th anniversary kickoff ceremony. So that's where it's like their version of like a Hall of Fame, where they basically announce people like the voice of Ariel, Jodie Benson, or people like that will get inducted into the Disney Hall of Fame kind of thing, or cast members that have worked there for years and stuff. So it's a good little ceremony is that. Then they've got a games showcase this year, Disney and Marvel Games Showcase on Friday. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN are having their special announcements on the Sunday. Massive Disney theme park announcements from around the world. Got so much more. There's loads of things on here. It's going to be an epic thing.
It is going to be a chock full couple of days, isn't it?
Yeah, you can download. Put it away. They have their own app, so you can keep up to date with the news.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That level of it.
Are you looking forward to? Because I know you're a bit of a musical guy. You're a bit like me. You're into musicals and theatre. Yeah. Are you looking forward to seeing musical shows appearing on Disney Plus very soon?
Yeah.
So they did a couple of.
No, I was going to say I love Disney Plus and all the stuff that they offer.
So they did a couple of testing this last couple of weeks where they did. Obviously, they put on one of the Broadway shows from Disney, and that did really well. And they put on a couple of the parks sort of shows. So they put on Harmonious, which is one of their musical nighttime shows, and that like millions of people tuned into that. So that was kind of like their testing ground. And it seems that it must have done well because the first big one to come on is going to be the Mary Poppins Broadway show, a specially themed showing. So if they're going to start putting on stuff like that, obviously Disney owns the rights to Wicked. So if they put Wicked on there, recorded for the first time, that would be immense.
Yeah, that would be cool. I enjoy a good musical. Not gonna lie.
It'd just be a shame that it wouldn't be Wicked with Idina Menzel and what's her face? The other girl, I can never remember her name, but she's on Disney a lot.
Yeah,
Chenoweth. Shame it wouldn't be them two. It'd probably be Dove Cameron, Ariana Grande's version.
Yeah,
Which would still be good, but I wish it was the original that they were going to film.
Yeah.
Obviously, she made it famous, didn't she, singing the Gravity?
Yes. That's yeah. You know what? I only saw Wicked a couple of years ago. I think it was a year before lockdown. It's one of them shows that I've always wanted to see, and I never got around to seeing. There was always something else that came up because it was like, oh, Wicked will be there next time, so I'll go and see that next time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a proper random retelling of the story. And if I'm honest, I preferred the James Franco origin story to Wicked. I'm not gonna lie,
That abomination.
What?
James Franco playing James Franco in Wizard of Oz.
with Mila Kunis.
With Mila Kunis thrown in. I didn't mind her in the Wicked Witch, to be fair. She's a good Wicked Witch.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something about, maybe not the film specifically, but the story I really liked. And I kind of found that a little bit more enjoyable than the story that we got in Wicked, as a kind of an origin story. And maybe that was my fault for leaving it so long to go and see Wicked, because I'd already seen what was it called? Oz, Great and Powerful.
Oz, Great and Powerful.
So when I started being shown a different origin story, I was kind of like, oh no, where's James Franco? But I enjoyed it, and anything that they put on would be amazing. And I think for a giant like Disney, because let's be honest, like, seeing a show, whether it's Broadway, West End, whatever, it's not cheap nowadays at all.
No.
And you only have to look at what putting Hamilton on Disney Plus did for a lot of people that couldn't see the show, that didn't have an opportunity to see the show. It gave them an opportunity to see it.
That is basically the tagline of the thing was theatre is for everyone. And it's to introduce theatre. It's to introduce children to a new medium, because believe it or not, it's a new medium to children because they don't see it. Yeah. So it's to introduce stage and theatre to children, basically. It's a way of doing it.
Well, Hamilton's a great. Have you seen Hamilton?
Yeah. It's great.
I absolutely loved it, and I saw it twice. I've seen it twice. One of the few shows I've seen twice in close succession. But it was one of them ones where the tickets weren't, break the bank expensive, but there were people around us that had paid like 4 or 5 times the price we had paid because it was Hamilton sort of thing. And I thought it was incredible. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite musicals, or modern musicals. But it was still too expensive to take my kids to. Yeah. But I knew they'd love it, if that makes sense. So when it was put out on Disney Plus, we sat down and we watched it, and yes, they loved it, and they knew all the words to the songs. And I think that's the best example I can give as to why this is a great idea, because there are a lot of children that won't see these shows because of the price of the tickets. Yeah. And it's not because the parents don't want them to see it, or that they don't think it would, they would enjoy it. It's just financially, it would be a big outset, and especially for families that have got more than 1 or 2 children of a similar age, it would be too difficult to pay, like remortgaging a house to take a couple of kids to the theatre. So I really do. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I hope that more shows kind of follow suit, maybe across other streaming platforms, because who doesn't love a musical, to be honest? You've only got to look at things like Descendants and High School Musical and Zombies, and how popular they are with like the younger generation. Kids do still love seeing characters sing and dance. Like, even if the film or the story is terrible, they know the words to the songs. So to show them these,
was that a poke at Zombies there? Was that a poke at Zombies?
Zombies 3 was a little bit.
Zombies 3 was a bit. Yeah. I sat there with my daughter and watched that. After watching Zombies 1, I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Zombies 2 with the werewolves. I was like, I was into that one. I kind of like the werewolf guy. Like, if I was younger and a teenager, I would want that blonde little flick with that jacket. Oh, man, I'm into that. But then I saw the third film. I was like, no, this is too far now. When they're all running around going, they're coming to get us. They're coming from space. Like, no.
Yep.
Turn that off.
And I'm the same as you. Like, I love these things, but I have the excuse that I sit and watch them with my kids. But you know, when you're a parent, if you can sit down and watch something with your kids and enjoy it as well, that's an absolute plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I'm like, right, okay. So opinions. This third one was not as good. Like, and then we get into this whole discussion about the third of a series not being as good, and talking about like other properties like Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Godfather and stuff like that. You know, so but yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think if we can get those musical shows out to younger people, then it's brilliant. But I'm looking forward to Disney Plus Day. I really am. I'm excited.
We're edging ever closer to edging ever closer to Hocus Pocus 2.
Yay! Funny enough, we actually had a discussion about this last night at home, and I'm getting really worried.
What?
Hocus Pocus really was one of those films that it's such a cult classic. It's so perfect, and I likened it to like Labyrinth, for example. Like Labyrinth to me was just such a brilliant film when I was younger, and if they did a sequel all these years later, even if it was Bowie, if Bowie was still around to do it and stuff, like even if it was Bowie, I would still be really hesitant and kind of go, oh, as soon as a sequel's out, it shatters the original as being a standalone thing. I'm confident that Hocus Pocus 2 is going to be brilliant. I'm really confident that it is, but I'm really worried. It's like
from what I've read, the witches are the only returning element. It doesn't sound like they're trying to shoehorn in any of the original humanoid characters. It seems to be based on a whole new generation. It's based on a young girl who doesn't feel like she fits in this world. She's a bit of a outcast. She's into witchcraft herself. She's a Wiccan, and she activates the candle on Halloween night, bringing back the witches. Because I know a lot of people are saying, well, how they're going to explain how they got younger. It's like, well, if you remember in the first film, they were old hags to begin with, and they used the potion to get younger. Surely then at the end of the last episode, they turn to dust. So if they do a scene in this film where they return back to that original evil hag form, do another potion, and then make them turn into the modern day versions, the potions aren't working as well, sister, and make a little joke about it.
Yeah.
Move on. Because everyone keeps saying about their age. I'm like, yeah, but if you remember, it was a potion that made them young in the first place. So they can explain that away so easily.
That is one element that I'm not overly worried, because the clips that I have seen where you see the three sisters together, they look fantastic.
They look all right.
Like
they do.
Look how you remember them. And I think it's one of those things, if you watch the films back to back, you would see the difference. But they're not made to be watched back to back, are they? They're made to kind of be watched with a significant amount of time between. But what's the actual release date for it? I can't even remember what the release date is.
They've done it it's near Halloween, but it's a bit earlier than Halloween, so you can enjoy it over the season. Hocus Pocus 2 release. So we get it on the 20th. Oh, it's the 29th of October. I thought it was earlier than that. We're getting on the 29th of October, so it's ready for Halloween weekend, because obviously Halloween falls on a weekend this year. Well, Halloween itself is on the Monday, but I think most people are going to celebrate it Saturday, Sunday, the day before.
Yeah, of course it will.
Yeah, most people are going to leave work on the 28th and just have the whole weekend as Halloween. It's in time for that. So it comes out on the Saturday before Halloween.
Speaking of that weekend as well, that's the same weekend that MCM Comic Con takes place in London. And Hasbro, we were talking, weren't we, that Hasbro have got a bit of the and Dan from the Marvel team tweeted the other day saying that they're going to be at MCM, but they're just confirming the date. So are we going to get a Legends exclusive figure as well or whatnot? But they are definitely going to be over here with something or other. So I think whatever it is that we see at PulseCon, they're going to kind of bring over to the UK. I don't think they'll be revealing waves and stuff like they did previously, but they're definitely coming over to to UK Con anyway. I remember seeing that the other day. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Halloween this weekend though. This year though, it's a lot sort of happening that weekend. You've got Halloween, you've got a lot of TV stuff. You've got MCM Comic Con. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah,
I really do.
A lot of good stuff to look forward to this Halloween. A lot of releases.
Yeah. I haven't even Googled that Spirit of Halloween yet. I keep meaning to kind of Google it.
It looks so fun. It's a trailer. They've made it look a lot like it. They've done it with that 80s nostalgia in mind of Stranger Things. The kids are riding the bikes past the store and they're like, I wonder what it's like in there on Halloween night. Yeah. Then they break in on Halloween night and enact the curse. And it's what do you call it from you have Back to the Future. Christopher Lloyd's in it, and it just looks fun. It looks to be on the same tone as. Do you remember the Goosebumps 2 movie?
Yeah.
It looks to be on the same sort of level as that. It doesn't look to be anything sinister or anything. It's just a kids' film about Halloween.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I kind of like Goosebumps 2.
Yeah, I am. But the reason I keep me to Google it is because my kids are saying, "Oh, what are we going to watch this Halloween? Like, is there anything coming out?" And I've said about Hocus Pocus, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool," and they're not quite as excited. And I was like, "No, actually, like, Doral said about the Spirit of Halloween, and obviously we've spent quite a bit of time over in the States, so they know the store." And I was like, yeah, and it's like Goosebumps, and they're like, oh yeah, and I keep meaning to look up the trailer, so I'm going to do that tonight. Hands down, look that up.
We've got that, and obviously it's Wednesday. I'm not sure if that's going to be kid friendly though. I'm not 100% sure on the ratings for that yet.
Oh, it's like we said last week. That is definitely not aimed at kids. That's not.
Or at least it might be for older teens, but definitely not for the younger teens. Then we've got.
You talk about Wednesday though. There's still a lot of kickback for what's his name playing Gomez, isn't there? I'm seeing even more. I don't get it.
That's how he looks in the original source material. That's the character. Yeah. He's not meant to be because everyone remembers Raoul so well and everyone remembers the way he portrayed it because it's nostalgic to your childhood. I get it, but that's not how he actually looks in the comic book. It's a short, fat Mexican guy. It really is.
It is, and I don't know whether I just noticed it more because we discussed it last week or the week before, but it was something that kept popping up in my feed. And I was like, there really is more and more hate for this casting, but the pictures I've seen of him and what's her face look fantastic. Catherine Zeta-Jones as what's her name? Morticia. They look brilliant together, like they really do, and they look mixed matched as well. And that was something that I always thought was very true about the kind of original stuff, is that they're not supposed to look like an ideal couple. They're supposed to look mixed matched, and he clearly punching like where a butterfly is, and that's exactly how they look, which is brilliant. But then they could have got Michael Douglas to do it because he's punching as well. But enough about that. Yeah, I just think it's brilliant. So yeah, we had Wednesday, we got Spirit of Halloween, Hocus Pocus.
You've got Monsters coming out by Rob Zombie.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is that coming out as well? And if you're ever stuck for a Halloween giggle, it's on there right now. In Netflix, Hoobie's Halloween. If you've not seen it with Adam Sandler, please check it out. It's so silly. I love that stupid little film.
It is really silly, isn't it? But it's
one of them films where it's because it's so authentically American Halloween. It's so like if you went to the middle of any American little town, that's what it would be like.
Yeah,
because that is just quintessentially American to me, that, and it just has that. I don't know. It's just one film that has one of them like homely feels about it. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just stupid, and I like it. Takes no brain cells to watch.
No, it is a good film. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to October this year. Definitely looking forward to it. There's
the one thing that we need to talk about, because it's for us and not for kids, but still, we still need to talk about it. Halloween Kills, the finale of the trilogy of films.
Yeah, I don't know.
To an end this Halloween.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know whether I care enough anymore. That makes sense.
Did Halloween Kills kill it off here?
Yeah, I kind of know what I'm getting. Like, what I'm hoping from it is that something massive happens in it that kind of throws it all upside down for me. But I'm expecting, the protagonist is going to do well. The villain's going to do bad. Like, you know, it's all that kind of stuff. Whole bunch
I'm
of people
thinking Jamie Lee Curtis is going to die. They've got to do something to spice it up. Otherwise, it becomes too.
I would like that.
That's the thing with the last Scream movie for me. It was too easy. Sydney needed to die. Yeah,
see that became like almost like a parody of itself, didn't it? But they kind of were aiming at that kind of parody of themselves. And the Scream film, Scream films, I could kind of forgive them for it because it was kind of making a joke of itself. But the Halloween film more serious, aren't they? So I'm kind of like, you know.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay between me and you talking. The Scream 6 has already been announced, though, hasn't it? To be coming out on March 31st, 2023. So
yeah,
everyone's saying that they should bring back Matthew Lillard's Stu in this one.
Oh, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? It would be
just
amazing
to do the similar thing, and everyone's asking for Hayden Panettiere's character to return and things like that.
Well, she was in it in the last one. There was like a clip of her on YouTube, like where they looked at YouTube, you saw her. So yeah, there's so many fan theories about who's going to be in it and stuff. But I'd like to see her. But yeah, the difference is with Halloween is it is taking itself a lot more serious. So I'm kind of like, if you're going to do that, I need. There needs to be something. There just has to be something that leaves me not uneasy, but I don't know. Did you see the new Candyman? Or the it's not new anymore, but
I've seen it. Yeah.
See, I really enjoyed that for what it was. Really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fresh take on the
idea.
The story and even the kind of tie-ins and link-ins to the older films and stuff like that. And I just thought that was really well executed. Whereas Halloween so far has just felt like a kind of a modernized version of what we had, for me, anyway.
Yeah, they've relied a lot on nostalgia to keep the franchise going. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I just think they just need to do a massive crossover with all of the, you know, the old school kind of 80s, 90s horror monsters, villains. Because Pinhead's coming back, isn't it? Hellraiser's going to be
Hellraiser's still going. It's coming back as a television series. Well, Chucky's a television series as well, and that did quite well.
Yeah. But can you imagine like a big battle royale? Shall I tell you a film that I really enjoyed, actually? Was it Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Was that the one where they had, it was like they had all the fake, like, was that Cabin?
Where they were taking bets underneath the ground and they're like a base underground that was sending monsters up to get them.
That's it. And it started off very much like a monster film, didn't it? And then you found out more to it. And I loved that. But can you imagine a concept like that, but with Freddy, Jason, you know, Chucky, Pinhead, like all these throwbacks, like a big monster. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going off on one now. I just need a good horror film, like a good old school horror film of like I used to have when I was a kid. Like it just seems like for me now, like the horror genre seems to either be nostalgic, like shock horror, or like trying to redo what they did. Does that make sense? Like there doesn't be a standout, that's a scary film for me. I've not come across one that's really scared me for a while, but
no, the last one that scared me was The Conjuring 1. The Conjuring 1 was the last film to make me genuinely scared.
Yeah, but then they overdid that, didn't they? With just
then they've overdone it with all they've overdone it now. The second film wasn't as scary; it was more watered down. Yeah, they've made it into more of a franchisey, everyone accessible kind of film. But Conjuring 1 was genuinely terrifying.
But you know, like the original Blair Witch, when I first saw it, proper freaked me out. Like freaked me out. And then they made that sequel, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is late.
With the girl walking backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad. And then the remakey one. It wasn't a remake, but it was like a sequel of the sequel or something stupid.
Yeah. But see, that one kind of worked for me, but it didn't me out anywhere near as much as the original one did. But that original one proper kept me up. Like proper kept me up at night. And I don't even It's kind of
horror films with monsters like Freddy and Jason and Michael don't scare me because they're just clearly not real. They're just, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
They're just monsters. Whereas a film like Blair Witch, Conjuring, a thing that you cannot see scares me more because you don't the fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
that scares me more. If I can't see it, how am I meant to fight back against it? And I like the whole they get that level of despair bit that the human can't cope with it anymore. I like that bit. That scares me.
I'm quite intrigued by that. What is it called? Nope. Is it the
Nope? Yeah.
I'm really intrigued about that. That looks quite good,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't seen much about it, so I'm definitely intrigued. But it's even films like The Signs, for example. Like I discussed that before, but like up until when you saw the aliens, it was quite a freak. Like the shadows under the doors and the clip on the news and stuff like that. Like it was quite freaky. And I think if they hadn't shown the aliens at the end, like even now, just thinking about it, like the running on the porch and then the noise on the ceiling and stuff, like it was really, really well done. And the power is in not giving it away, not showing you what's actually there.
So if you want a proper film like Blair Witch, that's a found footage, proper poop your pants scary, that's similar to Signs, get yourself on Alien Abduction, the McPherson tape.
Oh, I've seen it.
Have you seen it? That was as a child, like a young kid in the 90s, that terrified the living life out of me.
Yeah,
that made me genuinely frightened because it was just so eerie. There's bits in that where like the little girl's playing the piano really quietly and they're all sat in candlelight. Like that is terrifyingly eerie.
Yeah.
They just set it up so well. Like say you hear like the running on the roof, similar to Signs of it. You hear like the running on the roof and you can hear the footsteps and oh god. Yeah. So that's what I mean.
Something like that, like a modern version of something like that, would be insane. Absolutely insane. Like, and especially now with so many people streaming things at home, like the biggest kind of, I don't know if it's a fourth wall kind of break for me, but the biggest break in reality was getting up at the theater and walking out and then being like, I've been at the movies. But if I watched something like that in my own home, I think I would be freaked out. And I'm surprised that nobody's kind of jumped on there now. Even silly films like Paranormal Activity, like the very first one, the concept of it was quite freaky. And then they ruined it with all the ridiculous sequels that came out after. But if I was watching that in my own home at night with the lights down, I think I genuinely would have been scared at the time. So I'm surprised no one's kind of jumped on the fact that so many people watch things at home. Like, you know, jump on that. Like, do a version of The Ring that, you know, doesn't show you what you're looking at, but it's based on people being at home streaming stuff. Like,
I'm really surprised no company, because of the fact that we all work from home now, we get films at home. I'm surprised no one's jumped on the idea of an ASMR inspired horror film where you have to wear a set of headphones to enjoy the movie. So they can do 360 sensory. So they're like, you can genuinely hear the monster breathing behind you. Things like that.
No.
That would be a terrifying movie.
Sorry, you're twisted. That's not an enjoyable experience. That's horrible.
Just imagine the Predator, when you watch the Predator, all of a sudden you can hear and he's right behind you. Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be
a
really
sensory
cool.
movie that requires you to be participating almost in the film. That's mentally good. That's twisted.
I found it hard enough playing the and PS4 like 3D like the shark cage one on the PS4. Like I was literally on my hands and knees because that was my worst fear, and I couldn't take it. So the horror ones for me, like I love because I'm kind of like I'm in it and I'm immersed. So yeah, that would be quite cool. Oh man, I'm gonna have to find it now.
So now that we're in the Spooktober season, we've had a lot more news about the Haunted Mansion movie from Disney, and it actually doesn't sound as bad now. It's got some credibility behind it with these cast member names for me. So Rosie Arrow Dawson's joined the crew. She's playing the main character. Owen Wilson, wow, is in it. He's playing a priest, apparently. Gerard Leto is the voice of the Haunted Mansion and the Hatbox Ghost. So he's meant to be the... he's got a bit of a pansy voice for it, but he's meant to be the welcome, foolish mortals. That's his character. Danny DeVito is a college history professor that is studying the Haunted Mansion. Jamie Lee Curtis is Madame Leota, the head inside the ball that tells you that does all the seance stuff at the beginning of the ride. And then it says more to be announced. But the main bulk of cast, that's quite decent. Jamie Lee Curtis, Danny DeVito, Gerard Leto, not bad names. Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson.
That's a good...
Yeah, that's some weight.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Tim Burton. Tim Burton is written and directed it under Disney's watch. So he's had free reign, but Disney have been watching it.
Was it Eddie Murphy that did the Haunted Mansion? The first?
Yeah. God, yeah. That was diabolically bad.
Better than that one, let's be honest.
Anything can beat that.
It's going to be better than that one.
I still say a television series with every episode based on a different ghost, because there's 999 ghosts within the Haunted Mansion. Every episode could literally just be a one-off tale, a one-off little mini horror story for kids based on each individual ghost.
That'd be really good.
And occasionally you get a three-parter, which is like a three-part string episode that would explain like the hitchhiking ghost, because there's three of them. Things like that. I think that could be a great series.
If you think about so many people forget as well that Pirates of the Caribbean is the ride. That's a film based on the ride, but it had so little to do with the ride, but there was enough in it that was familiar to the ride, like certain characters and certain setups and stuff. So it
was the one Disney ride that didn't have a definitive story. So like Haunted Mansion and stuff has a genuine story as you're going round. That's the point of the ride. Whereas Pirates was just, you are delved into the world of a pirate, mutiny taking over a town. Yeah. There was no like story behind it, whereas like the Haunted Mansion has genuine, because of the nostalgia, because of everyone loves it, and like there's massive people like me that are Disney nuts. All the characters have names, all the ghosts have names, and they've all got their own little backstory from comic books from Marvel. So it's harder to change that now. Whereas for Pirates at the time, there was nothing. You didn't even have a name for any of the pirates, so they just went with it, and they could just do what they wanted.
But I suppose the point I'm trying to make is that you look at the franchise that became Pirates of the Caribbean based on the ride, and yes, there are those differences, but Disney have the ability to create a very strong franchise based on a ride. I think that a lot of people look now at kind of like Haunted Mansion and stuff like that and kind of go, they're just doing a film based on a ride, Jungle Cruise, all that kind of stuff. But Pirates is a prime example of how good a franchise based on a ride could be. And I think if they get it right with Haunted Mansion, to see a handful of films based on the Haunted Mansion would be insane. Like films done well. And I love the Haunted Mansion. I think it's a fantastic ride. So I'm definitely here for it. I've forgotten all about the Eddie Murphy one. I couldn't even tell you how it ends. But this one sounds good. This one definitely.
The Eddie Murphy one was just so diabolical bad. They basically wanted to steal his wife because it looked like his wife. So he wanted to basically steal Eddie Murphy's wife from him and lock his children in the attic and send Eddie Murphy home in a hearse. That was the whole story. We had Jennifer Tilly doing the Madame Leota role, and she was just far too feisty because it's Jennifer Tilly. So she was far too like, put me down. Like that is not some spiritual lady in a ball. That is just some New Yorker you've trapped.
You know what? When you said Jamie Lee Curtis playing that, I can see her now. Like even going around the ride, I can see her doing that.
Yeah.
And I think she's
gonna be able to do that pretty well.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just again thinking about it now. Was there anything else this week before we just get lost in Halloween? Because we've
no, there was literally not a lot to talk about this week. Everything's been a little bit quiet.
We've managed it though. So but no, I think that like what we were saying earlier on in the show, especially from Hasbro, there is definitely drop some reveals coming every week now. We're kind of past that San Diego Comic-Con benchmark in the lead up to PulseCon and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So there is just stuff coming out all the time now. So without a doubt, there's always going to be something extra to talk about.
So haven't we caught up now with releases almost, or are we still? Is there still a lot of pre-orders stuff to come?
What for stuff that's
like
actually been?
Yes, like Spider-Man Wave 1's now been out. We're still waiting on a few from that, aren't we? Like your Japanese Spider-Man, because that haven't come out yet, have they?
No, so there's.
And I know that Star Wars is more or less caught up now, pre-orders to announcements wise.
There's quite a lot still there, but there are announcements that have been put well far forward. So we've got all the Disney Plus Wave 2 stuff that has been drip fed to us all the way through. So that's still kind of in the mix. There is a handful of Spider-Man Beyond Amazing figures that they released later. So things like you say, like the Japanese Spider-Man, and a couple of those things. But yeah, apart from that, the stuff that they've announced for pre-order wise, it's things like the Black Panther 2 wave, the Disney Plus Wave 3, the various X-Men releases like the Mojo World box set and stuff like that. So they're all things that they announced but are well far in the future. I think the earliest, looking at it here, the earliest I've got down is December. So sounds
like they've got enough stuff to still come out between now and December.
Yeah.
So we're going to start seeing announcements for next year now.
Yeah. So between the next lot of stuff to be delivered is December, going into January, February, March, all the way through to August. Actually,
yeah, but they don't stick to them dates, do we? Now we know they don't stick to them now. I see all that line of product you've just said kind of sees us through to December, in my opinion.
Yeah,
from being a fan of the line for some time, that seems like a reasonable amount of waves and stuff to drop us right through to about December.
Yeah, this is the right amount of stuff to kind of take us through for a couple of months. So yeah, I think you're right. I think there'll be the occasional thing like this gore that we've seen that they kind of announce and kind of go right, be available in 2 weeks. Yeah. I think there'll be a couple like that, maybe even a wave somewhere. But for the most part, the things that they have announced, and what I did find out as well is from the retailers is that one of the most common disappointments, I think is the right word, is that stuff is labeled for January 2023, for example, and then with a week's notice, it's going, actually, it's coming next week. Yeah. Even across things like Amazon, like over in the US at the moment, you've got that Silk and Dr. Octopus 2-pack that was scheduled for December, and then all of a sudden is now coming out like now, like this week. I think it was even yesterday. I have to double check.
Yeah, I've seen people have got them.
But what I did find out from some of the retailers is that those dates that the retailers are scheduling them at is what is by Hasbro's request. It's by Hasbro's request that they're listed at the very latest possible date so that the earlier releases can be anticipated. So kind of what we were saying way back when was that these dates are coming out to kind of coincide with the complaints everyone was putting in over COVID, saying that stuff was delayed. So now they are just saying, well, look, you can have it in December because that's the very latest that we'll deliver it. But the chance are it's coming out in October anyway. So
I suppose now the argument is now that we're out of COVID and we're in this cost of living situation around the world, it's going to be difficult for people to keep up with pre-orders if the pre-orders aren't coming when they're scheduled because people can't budget. People are going to have to really tighten the belts on the play stuff when you've got bills and kids to look after.
That's the thing, and I think that the reason I was able to collect to the extent that I was able to collect was pre-orders and dates, and actually going, you know, I really like this figure, but it comes out in 3 months' time. So if I want it, if I put this much away each month, I'm paying for it for the price of a cup of coffee a month or whatever, you know. So it's those kind of justifications. Whereas, like you say, it's very difficult, especially when they're announcing so much. So, for example, just looking at this list here, in January, they've scheduled for the Marvel side the Heralds 2-pack, the Galactus Heralds 2-pack, the 3 3/4-inch Sentinel, the Mr. Negative Spider-Man 2-pack, the latest Apocalypse, the retro Apocalypse, Japanese Spider-Man in the Beyond Amazing wave, and there was one more. Oh, and Disney Plus Wave 3. So right there is a amount of pre-orders that they're saying is coming in January. If they moved all of those forward 1 week, not many people would be able to go, oh, that's fine, that's cool, like, and just buy it, because that's a few £100 worth easy. So it is frustrating as a collector. So how you budget and how you kind of plan has had to have adapted a little bit, but I'm very much of the camp that I'd prefer something to be given a date and for it to be late rather than given a date brought in a lot earlier. That's just my personal opinion. So, but yeah, I think if there's nothing else, then that kind of rounds us up this week, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, let's have a think. Next week we're gonna talk about stuff that hasn't happened yet. That was my my tagline from last week. Pretty funny tagline. But yeah, Ryan will be back with us. We'll no doubt have a load more figure reveals to talk about. We will, of course, have a little bit more Game of Thrones, a little bit more She-Hulk. I don't think there's any films dropping this week. I can think of.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, so if you are still here and you're still hanging around, then please do check out geekweekreview.co.uk. Go on there, give us a like, share, follow, all those kind of things. Podcast listeners, we do love you, so keep on doing what you're doing. And yeah, join us next week to talk about stuff that hasn't happened yet. Sorrel, if that's all, let's sign it off with Keep It Geek.
The Geek Week in Review.